what up? This is your boy Big D, coming to you with another episode of The Hell You Think. Today we're talking about what it is not to have your father in your life. Does it make a difference overall? Do you miss it? Did your mom do a good job at raising you on her own? And who were the male figures in your life? Well, I'm going to speak from my experience. So basically, when I got in my mid-40s, I found out that I had a sister. And we're going to get into that story a little later. But first, I'm going to tell you my relationship with my father and what impact it did on me as a child and a young man. Basically, it did nothing because didn't miss it. So I can't say that if he was there, I would be this, that, and the other, because my mom did a pretty good job. She did a damn good job of raising me, because I always had male figures in my life. I had my uncles and I had older cousin that was there for me to keep me in line at times. But nevertheless, my mom did overall a terrific job at raising me alone. So with that being said, the relationship I had with my father was really not a relationship. But at the end of the day, you still respect your mother and your father no matter what. And no matter what happened, you gotta just, in your heart, it took a long time for me to forgive. And when I did forgive, it was like a life change, because even though I didn't have to want for nothing, I didn't really miss it. I still had that little notch in my heart that told me that, dude, you suck as a father. But my mom never talked bad about him. My mom never said anything out the way about him. She always said, that's still your father. You still need to respect him as he is your father. So the relationship I had with him was like, we stayed in the same neighborhood. So me watching him, he was real bad on drugs and he was in the streets. And he was so whenever I would see him walking up and down the street, and he was on drugs. Sometimes we would pass each other and not even speak. He knew I was his son, and I knew he was my father, and then there were sometimes that we did speak. But as I got older, I started to speak to him whenever I saw him. My mom was like, when you see him, you speak to him. Don't be like that. Things happen in life where, we make bad decisions, but you as my son, I need you to not carry that hate in your heart. So over the years, it took me a while to start really even speaking to him when I saw him. I grew up in a not so good neighborhood, and friends of mine would be like, "Oh, that's your dad?" Yeah, man. I had friends that sold drugs, and they were selling him drugs. He was pretty much out there. My father, he never. He always stayed with his mom and his dad, and when they passed, I think he went into some type of high-rise home or whatever. But the last 11 years, I would say, or 8 years of his life, something like that, I found out that he had gotten clean and started going to church, and he became a deacon on the deacon board, which was very commendable, because we talking to somebody who had been on drugs all of their life, and pretty much, decided that enough was enough. I'm just glad he got help. I'm glad I'm glad the last years of his life were good and clean. So back to my sister. So funny story, interesting story. So when I got to my dad's funeral, we walked in, we sat down. We viewed the body, we sat down, and my mom had told me, she would tell me I had a sister, and I was like, oh, and she was like, hey, I guess one day, your dad will introduce y'all, or whatever. I said, oh, okay. So finally met my sister at the funeral. So at the repast, we sitting down and we talking, and we realized that we went to the same high school. We graduated from the same high school. She graduated a year before me. So here it is. We spent 3 or 4 years in the same high school and never knew that we were brothers and sisters. Didn't really remember her in high school, but a lot of my friends knew her, and it was like, oh yeah, when I tell the story, it's crazy. But after we got to talking, we found out that we had the same interest, and we kicked it off real good. And till this day, we still keep in touch. We still talk, and we still see each other. So I asked her the relationship she had with him, and it was pretty much the same. She said as she got, her mom would ask her how did she talk to her dad, and as she got older, it was kind of like, she reached out to him more, but I didn't do that. I felt like, I was a man by then. I'm feeling like, man, I ain't got to reach out to him. He wanna know me. He know where I'm at. He know how to get in touch with me or whatever. So, and he knew where my mom stayed. So if he wanted to, really get in touch with me, he knew how. But she did things a little different. She tried to reach out to him, and she did reach out to him. And I think her relationship with him was the same as I had with him, in and out. She probably talked to him a little bit more than I did. And he did tell her that she had a brother. But at the time, he never introduced us, which I feel was kind of messed up, and we all stayed so close by. Atlanta is small, and Atlanta has always been small. So I felt like that was a poor excuse. It was no reason not to introduce us and let us know each other. So asking my sister the relationship with her and him, she was like, it was pretty much the same. He was in and out. He was out there in the streets real bad, and he was never really in our life. But one thing he did, he's the reason me and my sister are pretty cool now. I love her, and man, like I say, I still have another sister by my mom, and I love both of them. But when I met my sister from my dad, we kicked it off real good. We kicked it off perfect. Like I said, we had the same interests. We like almost the same exact thing, the same drinks, the same food. It was just so much we had in common that it is crazy. It's crazy. But nevertheless, like I said, we still keep in touch. Now, I think by not having him in my life, it made me become a better father. It made me become a better father. It helped me realize no matter what, I will always be there for my kids, and it just helped me be a better father because the things he didn't do, I promised that I wouldn't do with my kids. I promised that I'll always be there for my kids. I always talk to my kids, raise my kids. So yeah, so just to put it out there, yeah, like me, like not having a father in our life, I think it really didn't do a bad thing because my sister, she's got a good career. She's well off. She does pretty good in her life. You know, me, I'm the same. You know, I'm pretty well off. I do good in my life. You know, but at some point, I know a lot of people, they hold grudges with their parents for not being in their life. But at some point, you gotta forgive and let it go, you know, and pray on that thing. Because all in all, you know, some of us, you know, we make bad decisions, and, you know, things happen. We get on drugs, and once you get on drugs, you really can't control a whole lot of things. It's the drugs talking to you. So I'm gonna blame it on the drugs for now. You know, like I said, I really didn't know my father. I knew a little of him just by the little things my mom told me about him. One thing I do know is he loved the Atlanta Braves. When I did see him, he would always have that Atlanta Braves cap on. And he was tall. Me and my sister, we look a lot like him. And me and her look a lot like each other. It's just crazy because when I get to talking to people and realize that, man, you weren't the only one, because back then, the way men carried on back then, you know, you had siblings in the same neighborhood with different moms, and that's just how it was back in the early 70s and 80s. You had people in the same neighborhood, sometimes in the same apartment complex, with both had the same dad, and some of them knew it, some of them didn't. You know, same dad, different mom. Some of them knew it, some of them didn't. So what I want to end this note on is that no matter what happens, whether your father is there for you or not, whether your mother was there for you or not, it is your responsibility as an adult to learn to forgive. And if you don't forgive, then you're going to carry a huge burden. So you have to forgive, and remember that some things are just not. It's just uncontrollable, you know. But nevertheless, I need all y'all comments, and let me know what y'all think about the video, and y'all just chime in with me. This is your boy Big D with The Hell You Think. Y'all be easy. Peace.